so everyone can see it, and we will send it to these wonderful candidates. Okay, your turn. Okay, this is for all of you. Why do you want to serve as the vice chair for the NCGOP? I guess we can start with Sarah.
Can you go back to the mic, please, because we want to hear them as well as the other people.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Thank you.
So the question was, why do I want to serve as vice chair of NCGOP? First of all, my name is Sarah Reedy Jones. I'm currently the vice chair of Mecklenburg County Republican Party. If I can survive in Mecklenburg, I can survive anywhere. Hillsborough Street to Main Street, you name it. And previously, I was also vice chair of Guilford County Republican Party. So I bring 5 years of being vice chair to the third and first largest counties in the state. So I understand operationally what it takes to work in the county, work as vice chair. I understand what it takes to network with fellow vice chairs. I understand my background is media and communications. I think we need that. I do rebranding and messaging for a living. We need that. I am a working woman. We need that in the party. We need somebody that's identifiable to people. And so that's why I'm getting into this race. You know, I'm everything that the Republican Party shouldn't be. I'm young, I'm female, I'm from an urban core, I'm middle class. After this campaign, I'm lower middle class. Sorry to my husband in the back. And I'm frankly 1,000% more Native American than Elizabeth Warren. So I am something that the party doesn't have. We talk about we can't be the party of old white people anymore. So I think that that's so important that I understand. I have a historical knowledge of the party. Don't let my youthful face surprise you. I have 21 years of experience in the party. I started as a 17-year-old in the trenches. I got denied to start a teenage Republican club in my home city in Oklahoma. If it gets denied in Oklahoma, which is very conservative, that's telling to the stigma that we have against conservatives and against Republicans. So for the past 21 years, I have been in the trenches doing the party's work. You know, college Republicans, young Republicans, Women's Federation, every sort of auxiliary group out there. And I've seen what's worked and what's not worked, and I'm willing to take that on the chin as well. I understand the best practices for the party. I understand networking with each other. I understand having tangible plans, executable plans. I understand that it's important to be sitting behind a desk. I've been attacked for that, frankly. You know, we need to be able to sit behind a desk and articulate a message and work on what we're going to do before we rally the troops. We can sit behind a desk or we can sit behind a steering wheel, and frankly, sometimes sitting behind a desk is more productive. And we need more of that. We need somebody that's going to be calm and collective and be able to advocate and fight for our values. We are not the common enemy. The Democrats are the common enemy. And so I want to take that fight to Hillsborough Street. I want to take that fight to all 100 counties. I understand 100 counties. I understand that one party, one size does not fit all. So we have to localize better. I've been able to see that. Again, I've seen what works, what doesn't work. I've survived. I go to church with Jennifer Roberts, the former mayor of Charlotte. If I can do that, I can believe in forgiveness for anybody. So I am excited. This is something that wasn't expected, but it's something that when you have talent, you're called to duty. So thank you.
My name is Anne Marie Yates, and I'm from Watauga County. I want to be your next vice chair because I am a passionate conservative. I have been working in this party for a very long time. I served as two terms as the Watauga County chair. And if you know anything about Watauga County, we have Appalachian State University, and that's a very difficult fence to get over. I have worked in the party at the state level as your assistant secretary, where I've been able to, I didn't have a voice in the central committee because that's the way it's set up. But that gave me the opportunity to sit and listen to the things that are working good in the party, which are many. There are many things that are good in our party, and the things that need to be worked on. So I have been able to listen and glean information and form some ideas about what needs to be done. I've served as a precinct chair, and I understand the need to have more organizations at our local level. Many of our counties are not even organized. many of our counties that are organized do not have the precinct support that they need. So that is another passion of mine. I've worked as a DCCA representative for the 5th District, and that's another arm of our party that needs to be used more effectively. A lot of times people don't have extra time. We need to use that arm of our party to educate through social media, through video networking, that sort of thing. So I am passionate about being your vice chair. I have been in this party for a very long time and worked at every level. I understand the need to work with the Central Committee, get everything approved through the Central Committee and the Executive Committee. I've been in those organizations for a very long time, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
I'm Miriam Chu, and I'm from Moore County. I'm currently the Vice President of Moore Republican Women, an 8th District at-large member, and a precinct chair in Moore County, and also a member of the Freedom Works National Activist Advisory Council. And what inspired me to run for vice chair was I have been involved in grassroots activism for nearly a decade now. And during that time, I've become extremely aware of just how often the people who are actually in the field doing the work, knocking on the doors, making phone calls, working the polls, feel that their will is ignored and that they need to have a voice in the upper management of the party. My primary background in life, I've worked in industrial management, and that made me aware and gave me relationships with people who were top-level executives, as well as people who were actually working on the factory floor. And every one of them has a very important role to play and needed to be treated with respect and needed to be listened to. Those were where the ideas came from. When I wanted to know what was going on in a plant, why there were quality problems, I went out and I talked to the people who were actually doing the work. And that's where we found the solutions. And I brought the team members at the upper executive levels together with the management in the plant to solve the problems. And the problem-solving skills and the people skills, the team-building skills that I brought from my industrial management background are what I want to bring to the GOP. The ability to work with people at all levels to solve our mutual problems. I love the Republican Party, I love the Republican people, and we are all, at the end of the day, Republicans. But I know that it needs someone that has the time. I am retired and I am willing to travel to meet with people face to face, because that is how you build effective team relationships. The leaders that I have known in my life who were the most effective were the ones who went out and met with the people, who got in the trenches with the troops, and those were the ones who were the most loved and the respected. And that is what I want to do. I want to be someone who leads by example and learns to have a relationship with everybody within the party and treats everyone with respect, and we all get along, because at the end of the day, we're Republicans and our business is electing Republicans.
Miriam, we're going to start with you. And it relates to what you just said. In 2018, you backed a primary challenger over an incumbent in a state senate race in your district. Why did you do that, and how did you work with the incumbent once your candidate lost?
The people in Moore County has been the largest Republican county in the Senate district in which I reside. We were recently redistricted. And the people in Moore County felt that they needed to have their own state senator. And a local mayor stepped up and wanted to be that candidate. She lost her primary race. Following that primary, I sat down with the incumbent senator. We got to meet, got acquainted, and I learned who he was and what his strengths were. And I went on to back him during the general election and get everybody on board, and everyone who had previously supported the other candidate. I did my very best to get everyone in the county, the Tea Party and so forth, who had previously supported his opponent. bring them on board, and we successfully elected him in 2018. He carried Moore County without any problem.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is for Anne-Marie. NCGOP chair requires a hefty time commitment and much travel. Where have you campaigned for NCGOP chair at conventions, GOP meetings, etc.?
Vice Chair.
Vice chair, for vice chair?
Yeah.
I have been, I've not been in the race very long. I have worked throughout the state through networking with my supporters, people who live down on the coast, people who live in the center of the state have gone to events for me and been there for me. I have been personally in several counties and gone to small groups. I was just with a delightful bunch of folks down in Burke County on Friday morning at 7:30, and we had such a great discussion. I am committed. I own my own business, which only requires an internet connection to work, so I can travel anywhere in the state. I do feel like, being from a rural community, it's important for the North Carolina Republican Party to reach out to rural communities, because a lot of times when I was the chair, we never saw anybody from the state party up in Watauga County. And we started to wonder, what does the state party do for us? So it's important that we build those relationships. I feel like we need to use more of our affiliate groups. The Republican women are all over this state in big numbers, and those women can be a connection like no other. My campaign is young, and but my experience is long, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay, now the next question is for Sarah Reedy Jones. You're a busy lady. How can you be vice chair of Mecklenburg GOP, hold down a full-time job, and I know you've got quite a hefty load there, and continue to be vice chair of the NCGOP? How do you do that?
Because I live on the fuel of liberal tears. That's what keeps me going. But honestly, some of the women that I know are the hardest working women. People like Leanne Patton, the newly elected 12th district chair down in Mecklenburg County. She owns her own business and she still gets it done. I have been very lucky in that I have an unlimited vacation policy at my company. I've been using that quite leniently lately. But I can get things done. We need to work smarter, not harder. I want to work with you all. I want to get out into the counties. I have a futon with my name on it at my brother's house in Raleigh. My 3-year-old and 6-year-old niece and nephew think I'm the coolest thing ever. So I love the opportunity to get there as much as possible and enjoy that. I will work tirelessly for you guys. That's what I continue to do. I think that what we do is we have an opportunity right now. One thing that we are getting, pardon my French, but we're getting our butts whipped in, is we are not recruiting working females to the party. The Democrats have been excellent at engaging working women. We have to have somebody that's relatable. What I can do is I can be in the counties and I can, you know what? This is an amazing office right here. It's amazing what we can do. I had a Zoom meeting with the head of Nation Builder talking about things to make things more interactive with Nation Builder to help you guys. I will be there nonstop. My husband can vouch. I do this nonstop. He's a college golf coach, so he's on the road a lot. This is just our new normal. But I love this, and I will work tirelessly. I continue to work tirelessly. I have the energy. I have the stamina. I have the network of working with people and those tools and those technologies to connect us better. We don't need to be wasting our time driving around when we can be doing things more efficiently. The party, we get stuck in this mantra, and this is part of why I'm running. You know, we do things because it's always been done before. And we cannot keep doing that because we are not winning. Last I checked, we are 3rd place in voter registration. So we have to do things differently. One of the things that I've been able to do very well is we have a lot of TV stations in Charlotte. We are able to, I can jump on there, be 10 minutes from the studio, articulate our values, and do that for the party. So we have to do better about being more efficient with our time and we have to be better about being welcoming to people that might not feel related to. So we have to do things differently. So that's why I'm getting in this, and I promise to pledge to you nonstop energy and nonstop efficiency. Thank you.
So just to clarify,
Yes.
you're going to continue in all of those other positions, the work and the NCGOP and the vice chair?
As of right now, again, that's a conversation I would have to have with my board, with NCGOP, should I get the opportunity to be elected chair of the state, or vice chair of the state.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, we'll start with Amory. Okay, what roles, if any, did you play in the successes or failures in your most recent local elections?
Okay, so in the most recent local elections, I was on the board of the executive committee for our county. I am serving as your assistant secretary, so I put all of my energy into that. But I go on campus and I stand and I hand out information. Unfortunately, we're not successful in Watauga County this year because of the college vote. And it was very discouraging. But I have fought that on other levels. During my time as the chair in Watauga County, I was successful in delivering Watauga County to Virginia Fox for the one and only time that that's ever happened. I was able to help get Jonathan Jordan reelected, and successfully we had 3 county commissioners, my husband being one of them, and he came from a Democrat district in our county, and he's the only one that served as a conservative commissioner, and so I was successful in that as well. I worked tirelessly on our executive committee, going around taking information to poll workers, getting poll workers organized. We have 9 precincts in our county, and so it was my job to keep everybody supplied with information during the campaign, during the early election, and then on election day. So I have been successful in 4 election cycles, and I continue to work very hard in Watauga County in the face of challenges.
Thank you. Miriam, same question. Want me to repeat it?
I think I remember. Well, I participated in get out the vote activities, from recruiting volunteers, preparing voter guides, staffing polls, but also in voter registration drives at the local community college and at various community events. We also worked several street fairs. We participated in parades and everything else we could think of to raise our level of awareness within the community. And I'm a precinct chair, and I man polls, and we also, I think I already mentioned, preparing and handing out voter guides, and we mailed them out to our precinct members. I distributed them there in my own precinct. And in 2018, if you were a Republican and you were on the ballot in November, you won Moore County.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the elephant in the room, because I live in Mecklenburg County, which is very, 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 very blue. I understand that our trends are changing. We have, just in the city of Charlotte alone, 45 new people a day moving to Charlotte. Within the metro area, 120 people a day moving into the metro area. 58% of those are millennial or younger. So we have our challenges. What we did was we looked at running things in a 5-year plan. So my chair and I sat down and we ran things the traditional way, our first year of being elected. So we did things and we knew what the results were going to be. They weren't great. So we spent this last year evaluating those results. I am a metrics person. I have a public policy background. I went to George Washington University. I love nerdy metrics. And so we evaluated that. One thing we also learned was we would go to big donors when we first got started, because there's a lot of money in the Charlotte area, but they're not giving it to the party here. They're giving it straight up to the RNC. So what we tried to do was go to these donors, and they said, well, why should we invest in you? You need to show us, because they're business people. And so we said, you know what, we have to write a strategic plan. We have to have these metrics. We have to have these plans in place. So we're going to them now, and we're in the middle of a $1.3 million ask now because we've built that donor confidence. So what we have done was that first year, again, run things traditionally, knew the results weren't going to be great. We have to stop doing things the same way we've always done before. This past year, evaluate it. So we wrote a plan for the next 2 years. So the idea that the 5th year we'd hand off and have that concurrent strategic continual flow. This is a problem that happens around around everywhere because you have 2-year terms. So historical knowledge gets rolled over. Everything happens differently. So we have to make things so it's long-term and hand-off. So we have figured out some ways that have worked and not worked. So what we are doing in Mecklenburg alone is localizing. We have started like Mint Hill Matthews Republican Club, which is a suburban club. They recognize that their traditionally red area is getting more purple. And so they localized, they are working on that. They have fully staffed up their precincts for the election. They have fully staffed up for early voting, all that kind of stuff. So that's working. So that's something that I want to take, and I've had conversations with other urban counties about doing something similar, that urbanizing and really localizing. One anomaly was we swept every judge race in Mecklenburg County where we ran a Republican. So obviously the message is working. We're figuring that out, what worked and how that worked. But it's tough, and what we are trying to do is help you guys statewide. We understand that if we get one voter, that's 2 votes actually. If they originally were gonna vote, we have 160,000 Republicans in Mecklenburg County. We're definitely 3rd in voter registration, but we're understanding that we have to engage them better, and things like the RNC are helping to do that as well.
Thank you. Okay, who should be? I guess Marion, we start with you. What qualifications do you have in the unlikely event you have to temporarily serve in the chair's capacity if he was unable to serve? Yeah.
Well, during my 20 years of industrial experience, I worked with, I worked with the management team and was involved in executive decisions. And as a management team member, I have great respect for bringing people together and making decision making. I do not relish the prospect of being the chairman. There's just one headache. Who wants it? I run again. Hey, you guys are here. But we have some comic relief. I really enjoy the prospect of being a wingman. I am a support person, and I am there to support all my team members and to be a business partner to everyone that's involved. I would, in my experience has been that in the unlikelihood that there is an opening for a chairman during that position, that we would immediately go into a huddle with the Central Committee and the Executive Committee and see what decision they would like to make as to what type of leadership they would like to make. Because, I mean, number one, I'm a team player, and I would like them to have the leader they want.
Thank you. Good. Anne-Marie?
Well, I'm in a unique position because I understand how the state party works. Having been in the executive committee for several years and then in the central committee, I understand how things work. Having been a county chair for 2 years, I also understand how you raise money. Fundraising is a huge part of the chairman's job, and I have been successful at fundraising in Little Old Watauga County. We've had Bernie Goldberg come up. We've had Capital Voices come up. We're working now to get Diamond and Silk in a very rural community. So I understand how fundraising works and how we have got to get out of the hot dog dinner mentality. I'm able to go and ask people for money. We have large donors in Watauga County, and I have been very active in raising money during my time as the chair. I also would go in and assess the landscape of what's going on. A knee-jerk reaction is not something that we need. It needs somebody that's steady and has a level head and can understand the process. So that's a very important quality. Also, everything has to be run through the Central Committee. The chairman is never the person in charge, okay? The Central Committee is where decisions have to be made. And I think that's something that we've lost sight of. So we need to get back on track in regards to that. And it also requires someone that is able to work with other people, meaning the executive director. So in my life, I am a mother of 5 daughters. Conflict resolution is my life. So anything that comes up, I try to hit head on. There's no room for playing nice. You have to hit a situation head on. You have to speak your mind, and you have to move forward. So those are the things that I would bring
Thank
to
you.
that.
When you accept the role of vice chair, you accept the expectation that you should move into that should there be unfortunate circumstances that create that. I've been doing this for 5 years as a county party vice chair. I understand the party, I understand the plan of organization, I understand keeping things afloat. A great personal example is when I was vice chair in Guilford County, my chair at the time, I was working in Winston-Salem and commuting back and forth, and my chair at the time had a big corporate restructuring, and he basically, and I love him to death, but he basically was like, I have to go to Wisconsin for 2 months right before the election, peace out. And so I kept it afloat because that's what happens. And I didn't get the glory, I didn't get the title, and that's okay. We kept it afloat. 2014, we produced the results. The RNC told us election night, you did what you needed to do for Tillis and for all those candidates. You did the numbers and you exceeded them. So we kept it afloat. I understand what it takes to keep the party afloat. I'm really upset that we got into this situation where we even had this sort of succession issue. I don't want that to happen at the state level again. I am prepared to fill that role. I personally have decided not to run on any sort of slate. I wanted to run independently because regardless, should I win, I want to be able to work with any of these 3 individuals. I want to bring our strengths together. I think it's really important to understand the Central Committee, understand how the party works, and understand somebody that's been in that role. And one thing I really want to do as vice chair, I'm big about giving plans and specifics and what I want to do. Hopefully you've been getting all my emails. I love communications, but one thing I really want to do is work better with the 100 county vice chairs. I've been trying to make that contact with them all. We have to train them better and get them prepared to be able to fill into that role of chair or beyond with the party leadership. That is something that is so critically needed, whether it be private Facebook groups, sharing best practices, but we have to train our vice chairs locally better as well. So that's one of the things I want to take into this role, but I'm fully prepared because that is what we need to be doing.
Thank you. Okay. Last question, very important. And I guess, who should I start with? Okay. As NCGOP Vice Chair, how would you restore confidence of the unaffiliated voters and the grassroots conservatives who have left the party and feel totally disenfranchised by it?
So I deal with this in Mecklenburg County. We have a lot of unaffiliated for business purposes. We have a lot of, we have to work better. I hate this ism. I hate being called a rhino or a Tea Party or a this or a that. We are Republicans, and we have to get that confidence back. We have to give the metrics. We have to give the plans. We have to give the right message. We have to have that confident message. For example, my campaign, I've had a strategic plan where I've had my messaging lined up. I've had everything in order. We cannot be reactionary. We cannot panic. We have to keep our pulse on the button. And so what we have to do is have that plan, like Michael talked about, a 24-month plan. I'll tell you right now, I applied to be the comms director for the state party. And I was told no because you live in Charlotte, and because I can't afford you. Well, then Dallas found out that what I make for a living, and he goes, well, crud, I could have afforded you. So, but we have to change how we're doing things, and we have to appeal to people better, and we have to localize our message. We have to understand that what works here in Buncombe County may not necessarily work in McDowell or Burke. You know, we've got to find that message that will better attract unaffiliated, that will better attract grassroots people, that will make everybody feel valued and brought to the table, because we all have strengths, and we have to understand that our values are better than the Democrats, and we have to better articulate to people how we can do that and how we can take it to the map to the Democrats.
Thank you.
I'm like Sarah. I hate more than anything the label game that we're playing, just like the Democrats are. We are not a party of identity politics. We are all Republicans, and it is time that we all put our shoulders to the wheel and we start working. Every person in this room has value in this party. Every person needs to be identified for that value. You're a grassroots worker, you're a party official, you are, whatever you are in this party, you have value in this party. And it's time that we take notice of everyone and what they're doing. I'm very appreciative of all the work that gets done around this state. And that means Michelle was an excellent vice chair in that she got around this state tirelessly. It's time that we looked at a way to get out into every rural community, every rural county, and let them know that the state party is here for you to aid and support in whatever you need. And that's the role that the vice chairman needs to take on. We need to help our affiliate groups. We need to engage with them and get them and make them feel value in every area that they can be effective. When I was the chair, I tried to reach out to every person in my executive committee and make them feel like their job was so important that we couldn't move without them. And that would be the same thing that the vice chair needs to do. Somebody that reaches out and makes you feel like you are the most important person in the job that you're doing for this party. It's a huge task to get around to 100 counties. 100 counties now are operating kind of like little islands. We need to pull everybody together. We need to come together, stop arguing about who's this or who's that, because we are all Republicans, and it's going to take us all to win every election, from the presidency for Donald Trump all the way down to every local election.
Well, number one, by making face-to-face contacts with the people out in every one of the 100 counties, first of all, and sitting down with the people there to understand what their concerns are, and not being the person from Raleigh who comes out to your county to tell you how to run your county, but rather to come out to the county and ask, I'm here from Raleigh, what can I do to help you elect Republicans? And to make sure that as the chief assistant to the chairman, and as they liaison with the Central Committee and other officers in the party, that we are keeping our commitments to the counties and the precinct chairs and our other valued team members out in the counties. I mean, that is the number one thing that we have to do that will change things, is that we have to make sure that we are following up on the commitments. That is where we've got to show the people that we mean it. We can make all the promises in the world, we can have the best messaging, but if we do not follow up on our commitments, and that is where my thing has always been perseverance. I can be a real nag about that. You told me you were going to do this. This is what we promised those people. We have got to follow through. And that is how we change that. When the people out in the counties, they see that we put our money where our mouth is and we follow through on our promises, that's when things will change. Not before. We have to show people.
Can I do my rebut, my one rebut, or is that, okay. Just real quickly, not a rebut, but I just thought of something. One of the things that we have is Nation Builder. And there is some really cool data that we're not utilizing. What we have developed in Mecklenburg is our technology team. We're actually starting a Republican technology group where there are IT professionals. They are learning Nation Builder. There is so much untapped data. So this is our way too to help appeal better to grassroots, to unaffiliated, to people that maybe lean our way. So we have to do better. What that team is going to do is they're really going to learn Nation Builder. Hopefully with DCCA, we partner up. They're willing to go out into the communities and work with everybody on how to actually harness that and use that and do that micro-targeting and do some really cool things that have been really underutilized.
Thank you. You guys are terrific. This is great. I truly hope that this was helpful. And again, I will get those questions out to the candidates and we can answer them to your satisfaction, hopefully. And I hope everybody is going to this convention next week.
We're gonna hang around.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
All right.